What time period are you part of?
1860 to 65, the American Civil War.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about your outfit?
Sure. I play an assistant surgeon. I'm a captain, and the black on my sleeves, collar, and the black hat, that shows that I'm medical. And the sash is green, that's medical also.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now I notice you have a very interesting belt buckle. Is that part
That
of the
is
period?
British. It's I think it's the Queen's Own Rifles has it. During the Civil War, the Confederates bought thousands of belt buckles from the British, and so you'll see it on. It's legal. It's accurate to the time period.
Awesome.
If you watch Murdoch or something like that, Murdoch Mysteries, you'll notice the Canadian police forces have the same buckle back in the early days. So, yeah.
Very cool. And the little eagles on the buttons, what is that?
Oh,
represent?
that's just the insignia of the Confederacy. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Could you walk me through some of the tools you have on your desk there?
Sure. The flags, for example, that's the yellow one with the green H on it. That's a hospital flag. That would be down about 6 miles back from the battlefield. The red flag is our medical flag. That would be at the triage center right at the battlefield. And Clara Barton, for the Union, she was a nurse, and she went out onto the battlefield and helped get them off. She was known as the angel of the battlefield. And when she came back after the Civil War, she started the American Red Cross. And that's when that flag went down, when the American Red Cross came up. As far as our tools, these are accurate to the period. These doesn't look like a medical tool, but it is. These are all amputation saws. We were bloodletters back then, meaning that we got rid of the bad blood, because everything was caused by bad blood, we thought. So inside here are 10 little blades, and a doctor would use this. He'd put it on your arm, pull the trigger, and you'd lose about that much blood. And that made you better. Now, if you didn't get to the doctor, this is a fleam. And this is for bloodletting too. You would have one of these at home, and you'd cut yourself and bleed out enough if you didn't feel good. Now, if you see this in a museum or anywhere else, and it's got bigger blades, that was for your horse, because you don't want your horse to be sick either. Other than that, the tools, this is a stethoscope, and the Midwives Today Association has taken this into their use, because they find it is much better than the earpiece type. Opium was a big thing. They put opium and alcohol together. It's called laudanum. And laudanum was for pain. And if you happen to watch any of the old movies, you might see the women in their parlors, and they're having their tea, and the hostess will say, "Would you like some laudanum in your tea?" They used to put a little shot in there to give them a little buzz. And those are the main things. They didn't know sanitation or sterilization, so that was a bad thing. But there was nothing they could do. They did the best they could for the time period. Maggots would come on their arms and on their wounds, and the nurses would brush them all off because they didn't want the doctors to have to worry about it. But that was a good thing, because maggots only eat dead skin, and then they fall off, and you got a nice clean wound to sew up with less infection. I saw a documentary, and they had trays of them for the hospitals. They now use them in the burn wards of hospitals. If you've been burned so bad you can't, you've got to have something to get the stuff off. And they use the maggots. They're in a sterile zone. They're made, bread. And, yeah, it's interesting.
Well,
other than that,
I'd love to hear more about maggots, but I noticed there's a very interesting cup on your desk. What is that for?
This?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what they call an invalid cup. I don't know why they don't use it today, because they make them in porcelain, steel. And when somebody's sick and can't sit up, you can use this, and it doesn't run down their thing like our nice styrofoam cups do today. We run out of, the Confederacy ran out of sutures, and they didn't know what to do. And so they decided to use horsehair, because it's extremely strong. And they boiled it to make it soft and pliable. For some reason, they got less infection in their wounds, boiling. So they realized, hey, there's got to be something with the boiling. And so they started boiling things, which was basically the start of sanitation. Okay. Gerald Collette, I'm from London.